Good morning, YouTube. Today is the day that my MDL clutch conversion kit arrived. So hopefully I can get this done today. Probably not. I always have minimal time. But here I'm looking at the instructions and they are much better than the previous ones. If you haven't watched my previous video, I tried doing a California pony car kit, which is basically the same as a Mustang Steve kit. And it was horrible. Go watch that video. But so far this looks much better. Actually has pictures. That's always nice to have. The hardest part I think that I'm gonna have to deal with is that I have to get in here and remove my brake booster assembly. I'm sure they have a lot of different versions of this out there, but this is what I have. I just took the lid off because I'm gonna have to siphon the brake fluid out of this. On my version, I had 1/2-inch nuts holding the brake booster to this bracket, and then I have 12.3/8-inch bolts that go through the firewall. So that sucks. That's all going to be a bit of a chore, but I think that's a lot easier and a lot better than the other versions, which required me to completely modify my cowl. For what I can tell, there is no welding involved at all. So this is the bracket that goes actually on the pedal assembly. You don't have to weld it on, there's a bolt. So with this kit, I don't think I even needed to remove the pedal assembly, and I didn't have to remove the air box that I pulled out down there. So far, I think this is gonna be a much better kit. But with all that said, let me dive into this because I have minimal time this morning, and I'm gonna try to siphon all this stuff out and maybe try to get this whole brake booster out of here, which sucks, but I think, again, it's gonna be easier and better than the other solutions. Okay, I've got the brake booster all undone. I got the brake lines off. Got the fluid siphoned out. I'm trying to be really careful with my valve covers. Without removing this crossbar, I can't get this thing out. So I'm just gonna try to keep it right there and just hopefully not scratch anything. But what I did for actually siphoning it out, which I thought was pretty good, I picked up these syringes on Amazon and I just suctioned it out and dropped it into a glass cup. And that seemed to work really well. That way I don't get it all over my paint. I also have some paper towels down there, just in case I get any on paint down there. But next, I have to somehow get to those bolts behind that bracket. It's kind of an awkward place, but gotta try to get in there. And then it looks like that one metal bracket I can probably do away with. Looks like two different metals. I didn't install this setup, so I don't really know much about it, but two different brackets. I thought that was gonna be all one piece, but it's not. So it looks like I can probably get rid of this piece here, still reuse these, because here is the new bracket that has to go in place. So yeah, that's the goal. I'll see how much further I can get before I get sucked into something else. Well, that didn't take long. I've already made it as far as I can possibly make it with the tools that I have. I don't have a lot of 12-point tools of any kind. I have this ratcheting wrench that's 12-point, but it's too thick to get it in there. It also would be nice if it had more of an angle on it. So I'm gonna have to go out Harbor Freight and go try to find a different tool that I can get in there and get those 12-point bolts. Just really interesting placement with those, but I'll do what I can. Well, I'm back at it, got that bracket off right there. But what I had to do is go to Harbor Freight and buy this wrench. And it used to look like that, and I had to cut it in half so I can get in here. It's pretty tight, but so I can get in here and unscrew these. So it's kind of awkward. I'm not really sure why they decided to use 12-point bolts, but I am getting it. It's just a little awkward. Yep, now I can get that one by hand. All right, so I'll get that off. Yeah, I had to cut that. It's kind of awkward. Whatever. And then over here, I have some cleaner and degreaser on this, and then I'm going to power wash it, and I'm going to paint it black. I don't think there's any reason why it really needs to be silver. If it's painted black, it'll at least blend in a little bit more with the metal in my car. Well, this is going pretty well compared to the other kit that I tried doing. The instructions definitely are just so much better. One thing I'm running into right now is that I have this here in place, and the top corner up here is hitting my metal. So I'm kind of thinking I should grind that part out a little bit because it is gonna rub right there. Let me see if I can get you in close to show you. There, you can kind of see it right there. So I think if I just grind that out a little bit, that'll keep it from rubbing on my metal and potentially rubbing the paint off and causing rust. All right, yeah, I'll do that. Okay, I've got it in place where I think it looks pretty good. I'm just taking this scratcher tool and I'm tracing the circle opening, scratching the paint, and then I've got this center punch that I'll use. Okay, so that looks good. That's where the hole's gonna be. And this I'm just gonna try to eyeball. Okay, yeah, that looks pretty good. I think I got that centered all right. And I just picked up some step bits, but first I'll start with a little pilot hole, a small drill bit, and then I'll get the step bit and step that up. All right, so I got the bracket over there cleaned up and with the first layer of primer on that. And while that is gonna be drying, I thought I would try to do some stuff over here. This is the plug it comes with, and it's supposed to go in the hole here for the old clutch cable. That's the Z-bar system actually, but for some reason, this is way too big. I mean, it looks like it's close actually, but I cannot get it in there. I'll play around with it a little bit more, but it just doesn't seem like it's really close to fitting. And then also, while I am in here, it looks like the guy who built this car had notched out an extra circle right here. I'm not really sure why. Maybe he drilled a hole in this, because all of this is new. From the windshield front was all brand new, so I don't know, maybe they drilled a hole in the wrong spot, but I could see some raw metal here that's not covered with paint. So I have these little artist brushes from Harbor Freight, and what I'm going to do is spray paint onto here, because I don't want to get any paint. I don't want to spray paint onto this. It just makes a mess. So I'm going to spray paint onto this, and then I take this and I just touch up the edges just to cover that bare metal with some paint so it doesn't rust. There's a little tip for you guys. Anytime I drill a hole somewhere in the car, that's how I touch up the bare metal. I'm going to do the same thing up here when I drill that out. So that's what I'm going to work on right now, and then I'll drill that hole out. Okay, this is a 7/8 inch step bit. I do have a thicker one, a bigger one over there that I just bought, but the instructions say, using the unibit, drill a 1-inch hole in the middle of the mark I made. So that being 7/8, it should be pretty close, but if I have to get the other step bit out, I can. All right, while I'm waiting for paint to dry, I got in here to work on the pedal side, and wow, so much easier than that last stupid kit. It's just a bracket. It took me a minute. I got it in there, all connected. You don't have to take apart anything. You do still have to remove the spring that I removed in the last video. I'll add a clip in here to show you guys how I removed the spring. So I did have to drop the steering column anyway, but I'll play that video and then I'll show you this bracket. The next step, it says remove the clutch pedal spring, and there are 3 1/2-inch hex bolts accessible from under the pedal support. So I found them, but they are, again, going to be hard to get to. They are right in there. They are right there. Thankfully in my car, everything's new. I know that metal piece gets pretty rusty, but I don't know how I'm going to get to those without dropping this steering column. Let's see if I have the tools to get in there and try to get those off, but I guess those bolts hold the bracket for the spring. And you probably could tell my spring is really greased up and gross because it would squeak a lot. And turns out the squeaking was from the back portion over there where the spring met the pedal. Oh man, I had a horrendous squeak there all the time, so I had to keep that lubed. And I was lubing everything until I figured out it was actually the pivot point in the back. So, all right, let me see if I can get those 1/2-inch bolts out. Okay, that's definitely one of the tightest places I've ever tried to fit into before, but I did have to lower my steering column. I'm glad this is not going back in because, again, it made a lot of noise, but also getting that back together would be a bitch. So, get to throw that to the side. I'll leave this loose for now, just in case I need to remove that for anything else. But there is no way I can get that 3rd bolt without dropping this steering column. Oh, get this out of the way too. That's the bracket that held the clutch spring. Oh, that just came flying out when I got that third screw. Okay, here we are underneath my dash. You can see the bracket right there, and it's just that one bolt right there. Very easy to get to and do. One thing that I did, because I think it's smart, we'll see. This is attached to the top of the bracket on that pedal attachment. I took this off. So here's a little pin for it, and here's that. Just because I think it's gonna be really hard to get the cable screwed into this when it's up there. I mean, you can barely see it. So I'm thinking I'll screw this into the cable on the outside and slide the whole thing through. And I think it'll be easier that way. And then I'll slide the pin in there. Hopefully, we'll find out if that was a good strategy or not. But wow, that's it. I guess I can put my air box back in there. I didn't even have to take the brake lever out. Yeah, so I'm gonna put all that stuff back together. I had to take it all apart for the last kit, but hey, we're going pretty good. And I might actually be able to drive this thing really soon. All right, so I just discovered something. I mentioned earlier that they cut out this hole right here. Yeah, Adeline is driving. So this is the plate that was here. And it looks like this brake booster needed an extra hole on the top, but they didn't use the one there. So I'm definitely by no means an expert when it comes to this stuff, but I'm not sure why. So I'm gonna take this over and I'll show you. Oh yeah, and by the way, I crammed this in here, but that definitely does not fit. That hole there is much smaller than that piece there. But I'll take this piece over and I'll show you the part that I'm painting. So if I line up the holes right here, it looks like I am going to have to drill a different hole. Again, I'm not sure why my brake booster is different, but it does look like for my system, I'm gonna have to drill another hole right there. If anybody can tell me why, feel free to leave it in the comments below, and then other people can have the answer as well. But yeah, it looks like mine is different. Well guys, I definitely highly recommend this kit. It's gone so smooth. This has been a much better installation. I got the brake booster all back installed. I got the lines all reconnected. It really is a pain getting to these bolts back here, but I feel like this brake booster is just a little different than most. I'm not sure why exactly. So this hole right here, if you remember, I drilled a 7/8 inch hole and it went in just fine. Just follow the instructions. I actually didn't follow the instructions, and there's an O-ring on here, and I took the O-ring off, slid this piece through the hole, and then put the O-ring back on. And that seemed to work really well. I couldn't jab it through with the O-ring on. I don't know what the instructions say, because I actually didn't read about that one. But if you can see, I have the line running this way, and it's coming all the way down to the front, and it's going between the headers and the engine mount, right down in there. And it seems like it's plenty long enough to get all the way down there. However, I will show you underneath, it is going to be actually touching my headers. And they do have a warning in there saying that if you have long tube headers, it could touch and could melt. So I'm gonna have to go out and I'm gonna have to buy some of that silver heat tubing for this. I might even double it up, but we'll go underneath and I'll show you what I mean. There, hopefully you can see this, but here is the line coming down, and it has to go to this hole right here where my fingertip is. And as you can see, it is going to be touching this header right here. It does come with this piece right here, which is a little bit of heat protection, but I think we're gonna get another sleeve to go over this. It doesn't seem to be touching or have issues anywhere else. It's just right there. So before I slide this in that hole and put it in place, I'm gonna go to the store and see if I can find some heat tubing. I still haven't got the other end of this cable connected to the pedal inside yet. We'll see if my strategy works. If you remember earlier, I took that little coupler off and screwed it on and I put it through the hole. And now I'm gonna have to reach up there and try to get those clips in. We'll try to get that here shortly. And oh, and I also do wanna say that this cable seems to be a lot bigger, stronger than the California pony car kit. For some reason, that clutch cable just seemed a little more frail. It was thinner. This is definitely thicker. It seems a little stronger. All right, well, I'm gonna go to the store and try to get a sleeve for this. Just got back from AutoZone. They have this heat shield. I'm hoping I can double it up. We'll see. I'm gonna slide it onto the cable. I'm gonna try to roll it over, fold it, and tape it up, and then maybe try to like put another layer on. we'll see. I just want to try to protect that as much as possible because, geez, it's going to be touching the exhaust. That can't be good. But I don't have a whole lot of other options. I can't go back to the Z-bar system, and there isn't another clutch cable system that's going to work. So I've got to make this work. I'm going to give this a try. All right, here's what I did. I cut this exactly in half. I taped this as tight as I can get it. I have no idea if this is going to work, but I'm going to try to put this over and it'll be triple protected. We'll see. Let's give that a try right now. All right. Yeah. Sweet. It does work. So now, tuck it through the hole right up there. Nice. And then actually, it does come with a bracket that I could, let me see if I get the camera up here. It does come with a bracket that I can unbolt one of these oil pan bolts and pull it over that way. I just remembered. So that'll be nice. It'll actually take it away from this. Well, I'm having a major problem. Everything has gone really smooth. The last thing I have to do is connect the cable to the top of the clutch pedal. I don't know how the hell I'm gonna get up there to get this thing. I kind of wish I left this air box out, or whatever it's called, this air intake, this vent here. But, oh my God, I don't know how I'm gonna get up there, and I have to get the pin in there along with this little tiny ass clip. And oh my God, I've been at this for a little bit and I don't know what I'm gonna do, how I'm gonna get this thing in here. I think maybe I can take my gauges out and maybe I can reach in there. I think that's probably gonna be what I have to do. I've had these gauges in and out of here so many times. I was really hoping not to have to do that again. But that kind of seems like the only option because I don't see how the hell to get up there. That's kind of what I'm thinking at the moment. I'm going to tinker around with it a little bit more. All right, I got my dash out and I can see it and I can barely touch it back there, but this is definitely the hardest part. I don't know how I'm going to make that connection. Yeah, this part sucks. Okay, I don't know if you can see it in there, but I did get the pin in there. Now I have to get the cotter pin in, but what I had to do is reach my hand around this way, and just with my fingertips, I can barely touch it. So I've got that in. Now I'm going to try to get the cotter pin in there. I don't know if you guys can see this, probably not, but super close. Oh, I got it. Okay. I just used this tool here to reach back there. I got it in the hole. Now I just have to spread out the cotter pin. See if I can get back there. I can feel it turning. Can't see it. Oof, almost knocked it out. I'm trying to open the cotter pin, but the other pin just keeps turning. All right, I think I got it. Yeah, that shouldn't be coming out. All comes down to one little pin though, man. The whole system in one little pin. Wow, that has a lot of play in it. Oh, I still have to adjust the pedal, but that has a lot of play. It has a little side-to-side play too. Oh shit, I'm gonna have to fix that. I wonder if I'm missing something. I have to add a washer or something. Oh, so close, but all right, getting there. Okay, I still need to figure out the adjustment, which hopefully won't be too bad. But I'm back here underneath. There's a couple things I need to do before I can actually finish this up. And it's gonna be a little ring clip that is gonna go on that bolt right there, on the oil pan bolt. So here is a standoff. So I want to unscrew that bolt. You can't really see it from here, can you? I have to unscrew that bolt and put the standoff in. Oh, and then this is the ring clip that's going to go around here to hold it up and out of the way and off of the exhaust headers a little bit. Let me see, I'm gonna have to move you guys over. Okay, so they recommend the third one down. So with this, I've got the lock nut there, and then we'll put this through, and then the spacer. There, and that's going to keep it just off the exhaust a little bit, so at least it's not touching. There, now you can see that standoff, and it's routed right around the header. And the next thing I have to do, and here's a little clip. I have no idea how these angles are coming out in this camera, but hopefully you can see this. So here's a little clip that has to go on this side of that plastic piece to keep that connected to the belt housing. So let's check that out. Should have done this before bolting that to the oil pan. Yep, we'll have to loosen this bolt that I just tightened because I can't quite get the clip on there. So I should have done the clip first. So here we go. Oh my gosh. I just pushed the clip on and a fucking clip split. Oh, that fucking sucks. Now I have to go find another clip. God, that sucks. Well, I know it's kind of hard to see in here, but this clip broke. So I looked up online, and these are $10. And it would take a couple days to get here. So I went to AutoZone to try to find a solution, and I found a couple of these, and these actually worked. I got it clipped in there. I had a couple different sizes. This is the larger size, but there's a medium size, and I've got it clipped up here in place. Let me see if I can show you. I don't know if you can see that, but yeah, I got that clipped in place. My mistake was tightening this down first, or even putting that on first. I should have kept it loose, and then I was able to get the clip on there, and then I screwed this back down. So now that's all secure. I just tightened down the cable, so that is all connected and working. I just tested the pedal, and it's very stiff, so that sucks. Hopefully it loosens up or I get used to it, because it's really stiff. And that could be the clutch, because it's a clutch that's new to me. I didn't reuse the old clutch that was in here. But all right, I think I'm done down here. Time to get this thing off jack stands for the first time in a month. Why it's doing that. Alright, I'm gonna put it here. Nice. So she does move. Okay. It is moving. Yay! So the other thing I wanted to find out is, after it gets warmed up, I know this is unrelated to my clutch cable, but you're here. I wanted to see if it overheats. So I'm gonna let it run and see if any coolant comes out of here. I have a bucket there to catch it, because I bought an overflow tank, an expansion tank, in case it goes over. Well, there she is. She drove out of there under her own power for the first time ever. Sounds badass. Been about a month since I had this thing out of the garage. I had a 289 with a T5, and now I have a 347 with a brand new T5 and a 295 first gear. I just have a tank there to catch and see if it overheats or anything, just to see if it spills anything out. Wow, fuel pressure is low. I'll have to bump that up a little bit. What is that? Oh, it's 4. 4 should be okay, actually. Well, there she is.